will it save me time or will it make me more money?
Trying to give more to something than you take. I think that's a good principle.
Yeah, try not to talk about yourself all the time.
Almost everything I read sounded like it was written by ChatGPT.
There is a larger goal in life, and that is contributing to other people. People do not trust what's out there anymore. People are getting already so sick of this AI slob.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Partner and Profit Podcast. Grant Wise here, and I'm very excited for our guest today. Somebody that I've followed for quite some time that is just an absolute gangster in the AI space. He's done some incredible stuff. I've seen a lot of the work that he's done and the people that he's connected to. It's been pretty amazing to watch him do his thing over the last few years. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Phil Stringer. Phil, man, thanks for being with me today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Grant. I'm excited and honored to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to the conversation for sure.
Yeah. Well, for people that maybe don't know who you are, give us a little bit of the background, man. How'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so before I was doing AI full time, I mean, right now I travel around and I speak full time on how to implement AI in business. My focus is very simple. It's will it save me time or will it make me more money? And if it's not one of those things, then I don't really care about it, because there's a lot of stuff you can do with AI that's fun, which is great. But my focus is I want it to move the needle in business. And so that's been my main focus. But before I did that full time, kind of, blew up without me even really knowing that it would. It was a a great thing to have happen, but I wasn't expecting it. And before that, I was the chief operating officer of a mega real estate team in North Carolina. And so I have a little bit of a real estate background. I have a sales background as well. So pairing that with AI has been very interesting. And then it's obviously led me to a bunch of different opportunities and stages and different connections within the business world to help people.
I really like your story because you kind of alluded to it there for a second ago. Like you weren't really like looking for this. It just kind of like happened. And we're talking about growth through partnerships. Can you tell everybody a little bit more about your story of like how you actually like kind of got like launched into to doing all of this stuff?
It's crazy. It's a wild story, but essentially where I can pinpoint back to the moment that it really blew up was there was a real estate convention where they did something that they had never done before. And they said, we are going to have you guys vote for any licensed agent that you want to hear speak. And we'll, give them 20 minutes of the conference or whatever. And so I put it on social media because it was a goal of mine to speak at this specific conference. And I had said I'd attended the conference the previous year. And I was like, man, I would love to speak at this conference. That'd be great. I could share some of my AI insights, whatnot. And so I threw it out on social media. And Grant, I don't know if my mom voted like 17,000 times for me or what happened, but I ended up getting the number one amount of votes to speak. And so this conference reached out to me and they're like, who on earth are you? What, what are you going to talk about? And so I shared with them some of my AI strategies. And at that point, I think ChatGPT had just recently been released. And so AI was, people didn't know about what was going on. And they were like, okay, this is amazing. Yeah, 20 minutes, you can, talk about this. And I just shared as many insights as I could and gave away a playbook for free, and people just absolutely loved it. And so I realized, man, if I can help people and if I can give value and if I can give more away for free than other people charge for, which I think is an Alex Hormozy thing, then I can really succeed at this. And I think there's a market for people who are normal humans, not smart tech nerds, that need help implementing AI in business. Like, because we're really good at whatever we're good at, whether it's marketing or sales or business, but a lot of us aren't, developers or software engineers, and we don't understand the crazy tech side of all the details. So I was like, man, if I can boil this stuff down and understand the kind of hard stuff, boil it down to an easier way to work with things, I think there's a market here. And so what ended up happening after that conference is wild, because it was like I stepped off that stage and it was like people loved what I spoke about, and I was just shocked. So I go home from that conference, and it was the Monday after that conference, a couple days later, and a real estate coach who is very well known from California, they called me. And I remember I'd listened to their podcast and I had never talked to them before. They didn't know me. I didn't know how they got my phone number, whatever. And they basically just said, "Hey, I wasn't there, but the last couple days I've heard nothing but amazing things, and I've heard your name. I don't know what you did, but can you speak to, I've got 500 agents on a Zoom call. I would love to have you teach whatever you taught and do the same thing." I was like, "Yeah, here's my calendar link." And they were like, "Oh no, it's in 20 minutes." And I was like, "Oh." And so I ended up doing this event, and I decided at that moment, I was like, well, let me pitch a product. Let me create a course. And so I created a course and I offered it on that call for the very first time. I ended up closing almost 60% of that room on a high ticket offer. And I had no idea. I thought maybe one or two people would do it. And I log off of that call, and in 1 hour I had given away as much as I could for free. And then I was like, "Hey, if you want to go deeper, here you go." And people just really responded to it. And from that moment on, I know that's kind of a long answer to your question, but from that moment on, it has been me getting booked to speak at all of these different things and consult with these businesses and companies. And it's just been a wild ride that I'm very grateful for, but I was not expecting at all. I didn't mean for it to happen.
It kind of speaks to the value, obviously, of a couple of things. First, always working to just come from a place of contribution, trying to give more to something than you take. I think that's a good principle.
Yeah.
Maybe it's right place, right time, I don't know, but the value of relationships. So can you kind of speak to how relationships, partnerships have helped you grow your business over the last several years, ever since that event?
Relationships have been the number one thing. We have never run an ad. Which we should. I'm not saying that you shouldn't run ads, but I'm saying everything that helped us launch within the last couple of years has been word of mouth, and it's been relationships by people saying, "Hey, I trust this guy. Hey, you should really look at using this guy." It's been from relationships. And I think we all know that it's, you hear the saying, "It's not what you know, it's who you know." We hear that all the time. But truthfully, I think the biggest things for me in looking back on how did you scale in 2 years very quickly, it was relationship and it was attending events, which is wild because I wasn't an event guy,
Mm-hmm.
but I decided that I was going to
Yeah.
attend the events to meet the people to build the relationships. Because I was like, how do I build the relationship? Well, if I go to the events where the people are, and if I just provide as much value as I can to anyone in any conversation, at some point I'm going to get the connection with the right people. And that's what happened. So I attended the event to make the relationship. And that's how those relationships ended up changing everything for my business.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I would imagine if you do that for a long enough period of time, you get pretty good at it. So have you developed any things that you do when you go to an event, you meet somebody? I think a lot of people meet a lot of people, which is great, but the follow through is maybe where a lot of people don't crush that. Like you obviously done a very good job. So have you learned a little bit about like how not to only meet people, but then like actually get something done? What has been some of the secrets for you that have helped you take this to the next level?
Yeah, I'm not the best at follow up, and I should be way better. And so I won't say that I'm the best at following up with people, but I will say the things that I've learned in the last couple years is try not to talk about yourself all the time. Um, be very focused on
Yeah.
what other people are doing and what other people need, and make yourself available without any strings attached to help people and give them the most value that you can possibly give them. And if you truly care about others, and if you truly care about pouring into other people's businesses, even if you're not going to get anything in return, you will end up getting something in return from that relationship. So I had to learn I need to be more interested about what other people have going on. I need to be more interested on how I can help those people. And I think a lot of times we get to these events or we meet up with these people and we are so focused on ourselves and we tell our story and we try and figure out how people can help us. And I think the true hack is care more about others than yourself and truly care about how you can
Mhm.
help them, and that will change the game.
I've always loved the Tony Robbins quote, "The secret to living is giving," and I've lived by it pretty much to the letter. And I've always found that I typically always get taken care of. It's sometimes I don't get everything that I would want out of a relationship, which is fine, but I've found that it always comes back, and usually it comes back 10 times greater than what I thought. So just fixating on giving and contributing is definitely the right strategy from my vantage point. It sounds like it is yours too.
Essentially, when you give and when you come from a place of contribution, there's always a number and there's always a goal and there's always a new target, whether that's a revenue target or whatever it is. But when you hit that number, at least for me, it's never been fulfilling, as fulfilling as I thought it would be. Is it great that we can hit numbers and we can, do more business, drive more revenue? Sure, get more clients, whatever it might be. But when you hit those goals, there's nothing that is more fulfilling, at least for me, than the deeper meaning of being valuable to someone else, to pouring into someone's life, to changing their life in some way, whether it's in business or personal. And I think it just goes down to not being as focused on self and understanding that there is a
Yeah.
larger goal in life, and that is contributing to other people. And there's nothing that will bring more fulfillment. There's no number, there's no sales goal, there's
Yeah.
no amount of clients that I can hit that bullseye that's going to give me more fulfillment than actually pouring into and changing someone's business or life.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. I'm wondering, have you learned any strategies with AI? Think AI and partnerships and relation. Like, have you learned any strategies for growing your business through relationships, partnerships, events? And has AI kind of gotten into the mix? I got to ask this question, obviously, since you're the AI guy.
Yeah, for sure. I think, there are some tools that will help people with follow-up. For me, I am I'm ADD. My brain's all over the place. I can forget things. I mean, my memory is not the best, okay? And so for me, I actually have, now this isn't necessarily an AI thing or a chat GBT thing, but I have what's called a relationships board. I use Monday.com, and they do have AI built to that platform, but it's essentially a task management or a to-do type of software that's collaborative that you can have your team on, kind of like a Trello or whatnot. And so this Monday.com, I have a separate board just for relationships, and they are the people that mean the most to me and that I feel like I can pour into. It's not all about me. It's not, hey, I want to, keep up with this person because they are a good opportunity for me. Sure, that's a thing, but I create this board of people, and I call it my relationships board, of the people that I want to make sure that I don't forget about, or maybe that I'll follow up with. And I review this board every single week, and I will actually have automation set to remind me, hey, have you reached out to John? It's been 4 weeks. Like, you probably need to send a text. And so it's been a little bit of a tiny thing that I do, kind of a little hack, is just list out the people that are important to you, that you can impact or that they can help you with something, and just make sure you stay in touch with them. It doesn't have to be a crazy text. Just say, hey man, I was thinking about you, and I appreciate everything that you've done. How are things going over there in Austin, Texas? Whatever. And so that's been helpful for me to kind of
Yeah.
remind me you need to take care of those people and follow up with them.
Yeah. It's so simple. I think a lot of people overcomplicate it, but it is very simple. Just reach out and talk to people.
Yeah,
We don't
exactly.
really need like a strategy or a script or anything. Like, just reach out and talk to people. Like, people are people.
Yep.
And I think maybe this feeds into my next question: is how important do you think relationships are, partnerships are to the growth of a business in the age of AI? I know that my own
Mm.
behavior, like, I'm trusting less and less and less and less of what I see online because of just how much of it is just manufactured, it feels like. And so I'm wondering if you've got an opinion on that.
Grant, we are in a trust recession. We are literally in a
Mm,
recession of trust because of AI and because of a lot of other things going on, where people do not trust what's out there anymore. They don't trust people. They don't trust if an image online is real because AI has gotten so good. They don't trust
yeah.
if a video is real. So you have this massive trust recession that we're going through. Anything that you can do in this AI age to make yourself more relatable, more trustworthy, more human, and more real, I believe in 2026 and beyond, it is going to matter more than ever to care about people, to show up your real self. I just wrote an article. I don't think it's been released yet, but I wrote an article about the AI video avatars. And I personally
Mm,
think that there is a place for AI avatars, but I think it's more for, let's say an onboarding course for people where they know it's an AI avatar. I think
yeah.
that there is a detriment to using it while trying to make it look like it's you or on social media, whatever, because of the authenticity factor. And because of this trust recession, I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by using things like that. Because if we show up as our real self and it's raw and it's unfiltered and it's unedited, and this is me and I'm relatable, and here I'm building the trust and authority with you because this is actually Phil Stringer and not his avatar, I think that's where we're going to
Yeah.
win in 2026 and beyond, because we are going to help build trust in a trust recession. That's why I do all of my webinars live. I don't do any pre recorded stuff. Would it be better for me as far as efficiency? I'm sure it would. But in a trust recession, I want people to
Yeah.
see Phil Stringer live on the call because I'm spending time with you, I'm talking to you, and this is me.
I wrote a post about this the other day. I wasn't talking about the AI avatars, but I was like scrolling Facebook. I had a little break, and almost everything I read sounded like it was written by ChatGPT. And I'm like, man, you guys are missing the point. Like,
Yeah.
I could just go to ChatGPT and I could ask the prompt or what. Like, I could just like input my own prompt and have my own conversation with, I call ChatGPT Jarvis. I got my own conversation with Jarvis, and I'm like, good. I don't like need you to like. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to like take. I'm posting all of my contents from ChatGPT, but like you get to a point where it's just a bunch of like AI content. Nobody's actually putting out anything. I'm not saying nobody, like a very small percentage of people are putting out real content, maybe vulnerable content, which is going to crush in the next 3 to 5 years. Vulnerability, transparency, those types of things that are like super, we're going to become like super attracted to that stuff. I don't know if you agree, but to me, I think it's so funny to see one AI post after the next. I'm like, man, what's the point? This doesn't feel like we're headed in the right
No,
direction here.
it's honestly AI slop is what it's called, and that's what people are referring it to. It's like you go through your news feed and all of this AI slop that it hallucinates, it's not completely accurate, and you're like, what on earth is this? This is wild. People are
Yeah.
getting already so sick of this AI slop. And there's basically what we've done is we have completely demolished the barrier of entry into posting content, because you can set up an automation and AI can
Hmm.
just research it, write it for you, and post it all without you doing anything. And so you have a ton of content being flooded into our space. But it's all not good content. It's low quality. It doesn't make sense sometimes. It
Yeah.
hallucinates, which is why I'm 100% in agreement with you, Grant, on in 2026 and beyond. I think what's going to hit hardest with people is really good quality content, real content,
Hmm.
genuine content, a content that builds trust and authority. And it's not going to be like, hey, post 100 times a day with all this junk. Man, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, it's like
Yeah.
we've got to get some good content out there because that's what people are going to crave.
Man, I couldn't agree more. Do you think that we'll see this? I don't know if I would call it a regression, but do you think we would see this like regression back to live content being more valuable? Because there was this craze a few years back of Facebook Live, Instagram Live, all of these live strategies. All everybody preached, and then it kind of went away. And now you're seeing. I remember going to Gary Vaynerchuk's office for a 4D's digital deep dive. Man, it's got to be like 8 years ago now. And they were talking about just like how much quote unquote slop there was on the internet. It's like just noise. Like there's just so much. And what you're saying is so true. It's been amplified 100x
Mhm.
of just meaningless stuff that's on the internet. And so do you feel like maybe there's this trend towards or this affinity towards live content again, like there was several years ago?
There's going to be affinity towards live, online, and in person. And so I'm
Yeah.
already seeing it with my events. So I last year I did over 100 live events. We did even more virtual events. And Zoom is great. These virtual things are great because we're able to have a conversation and we don't have to be in the same
Yeah.
location. But I think that people with events even are craving the live. Not only just going
Yeah.
on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, which I believe also will continue to be on an upward trend because of the AI slop, but even in-person events, people are craving that connection with people. They're creating or they're craving that relationship with people. And you
Yeah.
just can't get it unless you're with that person. You can, try and have it artificially, but it just doesn't hit the same. And so, yeah, I do think that that's something that's probably going to be big.
Yeah. I would be apt to agree. Man, I can't tell you how much I thank you for coming on here today. I want to respect your time. I always like to finish with this one last question is like how can we partner with Phil Stringer to help you grow your business? What can we do to
I
support
love
you?
that. I appreciate that. Instagram would be at Phil Stringer. It's just first and last name. So if you want to follow me along my journey, that's great. I respond to my DMs. So if you have any questions, if you need help, that's the place to reach me. PhilStringer.com is the website. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make AI accessible to anyone. And if they're not a tech person or if they're not a developer and they want to build a business and they're good at building businesses, I love helping entrepreneurs. I love helping business owners. And so, to partner with me along my journey, follow along. If you need any help, I'm here for you. But those would be the best ways to get in touch with me or to follow along with what I'm doing.
I love it, man. And we'll do it for sure. I'll make sure that we list all that stuff in our show notes. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you taking the time. I know you're out traveling right now,
Yeah,
but it means a lot to spend a little bit of time with you and get a bunch of value from you. So we appreciate it.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor.
Yeah, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. Make sure you go take some action. Connect with Phil. Ask the questions. You heard how you can support him. So let's make sure we do it. Appreciate you all for continuing to listen to the Partner and Profit podcast. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.